And can you elaborate on why Willa has two hearts?
The hybridization that occurred in certain genetic lineages led to a more efficient system of storing oxygen in the body for the purpose of accessing higher frequency domains and information. The oxygenation of the body is of paramount importance in speeding up the vibrational resonance of the physical form and having the idea of not exactly two hearts, but more chambers in the heart than you have that makes it function as if it's doubled, allows for a more efficient distribution of oxygen throughout the system, and also a greater amount of oxygen throughout the system that then increases the probability of raising the frequency to the exact pitch required for easier connection to higher frequency realms of consciousness and other dimensions of experience.
So just like when Daryl does deep breathing in order to make the connection with you, the idea is that she has a much higher level of oxygen in her system than we do?
Yes, and this is also why we have mentioned from time to time that there is more oxygen on our planet in the atmosphere. Not a lot, but enough that it allows for the stabilization of that frequency to be common.
Okay. Is there a way that you can support elementals in this time of planetary transition, since they seem to have an important role in keeping the Earth in balance?
Well, in a sense, the idea of taking on the role from your side of keeping the Earth in balance and doing the things that will help stabilize the environment in positive ways, increasing the idea of the natural world and making those connections from your side will be something that will also allow them more opportunity to do so from their side. So the whole idea of making the connection with them and taking actions in your reality that are more representative of enhancing the environment, stabilizing the environment in a more natural way, is what you can do from your side, while they do what they do from their side. It's not entirely up to them. This has to be a relationship. It has to be, in a sense, a 50-50 proposition.
It just occurred to me that the connection that elementals experience with Earth and nature is a profoundly deep love affair, in a sense.
Yes.
And that the more that you love Earth and you love all the elements of Earth, the more you are putting yourself in a state that's similar to what an elemental might experience.
Exactly. And therefore, like we have said with regard to extraterrestrial contact, you have to meet them halfway. You have to bring your vibrational frequency at least much closer to the level that they operate on in order for you to perceive them and in order for you to interact with them in the ways that will allow for the acceleration of the balance of the natural world of Earth.
Now, one person had an experience where they were with a grove of trees and suddenly shifted to a parallel reality where they realized that the forest is inhabited with tree people. In other words, the people of the forest are the trees, and that they are a community that has very strong bonds, and they're also very welcoming of the human consciousness.
That's why we say that the trees are, in a sense, the ambassadors between humans and the natural world, because they're connected to the idea of physical humans, they're connected to the idea of the elementals, and in a sense they act as the go-between. So they're always welcoming you into their reality to act as, well, for lack of a better term, brokers between the two different civilizations of human and elemental. That's the common bond. That's the common frequency. That's the common interface, are the trees.
So they experience each other as individual consciousnesses
And collective, both.
and a collective at the same time. And they have young people and old people, and it's just it's a community of being.
It is. But again, when you say young people and old people, we understand what you mean in terms of time and the growth of trees. But don't assign a human perspective to that, because they don't see it exactly in that way. Remember that they can perceive things in parallel realities in multiple dimensions a little bit differently than you can. And the idea of young and old has a particular perspective to them, but it's not exactly the human perspective.
And yet you need the older trees in a forest in order to share their energy with the younger trees.
Yes, yes. But again, all we're simply saying is the terminology that you're using, the definitions that you're using, have a particular human bent to them that is not experienced exactly in the same way by the tree consciousness.
And one last thing about trees, that they seem to have a very generous spirit in general.
Yes.
And their genetics are actually more complex than ours.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So they are actually highly evolved beings in many respects.
Yes. In fact, the very idea that they are apparently to you immobile requires the extra genetics and the extra abilities, because they can't move away from things like humans can. Therefore, they have to have more adaptability to a variety of situations, hence a more complex genetic structure.
And they communicate with each other chemically, so they let each other know that there's danger or all kinds of communication that happens.
Yes, yes.
So it's very sophisticated, and yet it's hidden to human consciousness unless you shift your vibration to be able to perceive what is actually happening.
Yes, but it's not hidden on purpose. It is simply the idea of the limitations that human consciousness has placed on itself, because long ago, when humans were much more connected in their understanding of their expression of nature, it wasn't hidden at all. It was understood very clearly.
So that would be Native Americans, Lemurians, those beings were much more...
Early Atlanteans, yes. And not leaving out the idea of people in other parts of your planet, because many of them also had a more natural way of relating to nature.
Yes, I think almost every continent had its share of shamanic beings that were connecting with nature.
Yes. And it was much more common in those societies to understand those things as natural.
Now, one person has a boa constrictor, and he wants to know how to communicate with that being, and if it's possible to create a relationship and an emotional connection between a reptilian being, and I'm talking about actual reptile, and human.
Well, of course it is. So again, many of the things we've already said will apply as well. The idea of the deep emotional bond, the idea of using imagery instead of words. The reptile will also assist you in understanding exactly how to frame those images, how to frame those emotions in its context, in its quote-unquote language.
So you're basically saying, be the snake, and then you will know how to talk to the snake.
In essence, yes, and the snake will help you if it really senses a deep willingness and a deep bond in your consciousness that wishes to do so. So again, this is why it's so important to have that deep, loving, vibrational, harmonic bond, because then the being will sense that you really desire a connection and will help you with that connection by sending the imagery and the feelings as well that will help you understand how to focus in on its particular way of creating a communication.
Okay, I think that's helpful. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to a question having to do with the precursors.
Yes.
And we wanted to give you an opportunity to clarify the idea of whether precursors were actually born here on the planet or whether they are actually
Yes.
extraterrestrial.
We understand that there may have been a slip in translation when we first talked about that concept. And this is why we have recently begun to talk about people born on the planet who have similar hybridized genetics to precursors as being preparers rather than calling themselves precursors. Precursor, by definition, is something that comes before something else. And therefore, since you're already on the planet, you can't be precursors because you're not coming to the planet, you're on the planet. But you can be preparers. And the preparers can exhibit some of the same vibrational frequencies as the precursors. But precursors are born off the planet. They are hybrids from off the planet, are not born on Earth. Who is born on Earth are preparers. We apologize for any confusion in translation.
Did you say your ship is called Nexus?
No, it's not called Nexus, but the idea is that it can use nexus points in order for its ability to shift location to location. In a sense, any ship that uses that technology can be called a Nexus-style ship.
And was the USFO that crashed at Roswell just as alive as that?
No. Different kind of technology altogether, a little bit more akin to your understanding of technology.
Do stories and fictional universes actually exist in their own right? And we are sort of seeing them and tapping into their energy when we read something or think about them?
They can. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily all experienced in the same kind of physical way that you experience your reality, but that doesn't mean that they're any less real. So when we say that they're all real in one way, shape, or form, you have to understand that that may include a multitude of dimensions, including the spirit realm. So they're not necessarily physical in the way that you know it, but they are real. You are tapping into a real reality on some level of consciousness. Now, again, some of them may be absolutely the way you imagine them, and some of them may be a little bit different. But somewhere along the line, all the attributes are real, whether they all belong in one reality or several.
Okay. One individual, when they were a child, they dreamed that they basically visited inner Earth. And they felt that they were being teased by adults about this idea.
Yes.
Is there an actual inner Earth culture or an inner Earth reality?
Yes, but it's not actually physically in your Earth. It's in another dimension. Many people may mistake the idea that it's inside your Earth physically because of how they may arrive there by going through different portals that sometimes can be underground or in caves or what have you. But without knowing it, they may have actually literally shifted into a different dimensional reality and still assume that they're on the Earth or in the Earth that they were originally on, which they're not until they go back through the portal and come back out onto their original reality, so to speak. But the idea is that there are other dimensions that are perceived as being inside physical objects such as a planet, but they're not literally there necessarily. They can be, but they're not literally there in your case. So people that find themselves in what they perceive to be inner Earth are actually in another dimension that they've shifted to without necessarily knowing it.
And can you tell us anything about what it's like there?
Well, there are many different kinds of places there. There isn't just one place that people go to. There are shells within shells within shells within shells of dimensions within dimensions within dimensions within dimensions. So it just depends on what frequency you entered the portal in as to where you wind up.
And also what's relevant to your life theme in terms of what information you receive
Yes.
about that environment?
Yes, so there isn't one place I can tell you about.
In fact, aren't most of these things sort of geared towards what will excite us on a deep level based on our own unique?
Well, generally speaking, or they're certainly geared toward the idea of the kind of information that you agreed to participate in the theme of exploration on Earth.
And that's why people have so many different kinds of experiences, because it's all uniquely tailored
Yes,
for their consciousness.
of course it is. How could it be otherwise?
Right? Yes, because you're doing it. This individual is very excited about Atlantis, and
Yes.
he wanted to know, or she, some hot spots to go to tap into Atlantean energy and give themselves the opportunity to receive information there.
Well, certainly the Bahamas, the areas you know as Cuba, the area you know as the Yucatan, and even across the sea, the area that you know as Crete. Some areas in Spain, some areas in the area you call North Africa and ancient Egypt do still have some Atlantean remnants to the ideas of survivors that went there. So any of those places can be energy centers that you can gravitate yourself to based on what you're attracted to do or experience, that can allow you, as a permission slip, more efficacy in tapping into Atlantean information.
And I know the Bimini Road, many people think that it's underwater.
Yes,
and
yes.
You can actually swim along and look at the Bimini Road.
Yes, well, it wasn't originally a road. It's a collapsed wall.
Oh. Yeah, because it just looks like these huge concrete blocks.
Yes.
That stretch on for a long period of time, and you can swim along it.
Yes. Well, if you look on a map that shows you what that area looked like when the water level was lower during the Ice Age, the ocean level was lower, you will see what the actual outline of that main Atlantean island was. And you can see more clearly when the water is lower, where other locations also allowed for cities to be built. But again, remember, even though many people depict the concept of ancient Atlantis as looking sort of Grecian, the true architecture of Atlantis is more the idea of Mayan or Aztec.
And it's quite rural in the sense of the society itself, yes?
Well, in a sense, yes. There were some main city parts, but for the most part, yes, the cities were quite open. There was quite a lot of rural countryside that surrounded them and was utilized for farming and different purposes.
Will a time come where we'll actually be able to, in a sense, see, because our vibration is higher? Like, can you see Atlantis?
Yes.
From your vibrational level?
Absolutely. That's why we're telling you the architecture isn't what most people think.
That's so interesting. So we're capable of achieving that in our lifetime, yes?
Yes, of course.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so this question has to do with interacting with different versions of a person. And does each version represent a different, distinct soul that you're looking at when you...
If you're talking about the idea of one single body, then no. Doesn't represent different souls. It represents different aspects of the same soul.
Okay. And then when people are a different version because they're in my reality that I prefer, does that different version depend on me, or is there something that they do? So does this mean that if I experience something that I view as negative, it's up to me to change my vibration, which will then give me a different version of that person?
That can happen, yes. But the idea is that you're taking some information from them in your telepathic contact, and you're rendering out of your own energy, out of your own consciousness, a reasonable facsimile, not only of what you're getting from them, but also what you're taking from your own belief systems and what you need to see. So yes, very often changing your frequency, coming from a different place, will allow you to, quote unquote, manufacture a different version of them. because you've shifted to another reality where there already is a different version of them, because now you're coming from a different place, a different frequency, a different reality.
Yeah, occasionally you will actually hear of somebody having a negative interaction with someone and then going into a meditative state, communicating with that person on a higher level in a sense, and balancing their own energy in relation to what was communicated to them, and then going back and reconnecting with the physical person and finding that their behavior has also changed.
Correct, but the truth is their behavior hasn't changed because the person they're dealing with is actually a different person.
Okay, so they're getting another version of that person.
Because they're in a different parallel version of Earth, yes.
It's very interesting because it really does shift the focus back to your own personal responsibility, but at the same time, you're not to blame for other people's negative behavior, or the fact that you see another person's negative behavior does not mean that's a one-on-one reflection of your own negativity.
Correct. The issues that other people may have that you attract into your life may have nothing to do with your issues, but there's a reason why they're there. It might be because you need to help them. It might be because you need to act as a sounding board in some way or a reflection to them for their issues, whether they know it or not. But generally speaking, though it can sometimes be a one-to-one reflection, it isn't always. You have to have the discernment to be able to tell what's actually going on and why that person has been attracted or at least allowed by you into your life.
Yes, and the idea is what you do with the transmission or the receipt of information from that person.
Absolutely.
It puts it back in your court that what you do with it will determine the effect that you get out of it.
Yes, because no matter how the situation originated, whether it was created from negativity, no matter what anyone else's experience or opinion is or perspective is of the situation, you still get to determine how the situation will affect you because you're the one affecting yourself with your relationship and definition of that particular situation. So you can always get a benefit no matter what happens, depending on what you choose to do in relation to that circumstance.
And when people die at the same time, like in a plane crash or something like that, do they have an awareness of the other people who are transitioning at the same time that they do?
Sometimes, not always. Again, it depends upon their vibrational path.
Yeah, it's just so interesting, like that a whole group of people would get on a plane and when it crashes, they're all transitioning simultaneously.
Yes. Well, it's not really, if you stop and think about it, any more mysterious than all the people getting on the plane because they happen to be going to the same city. It's just that they're going to a city they didn't necessarily realize they were going to.
Yeah. That's intense.
Well, again, it's no more mysterious than the kind of orchestration that happens when you get on any particular kind of a device. So again, the orchestration of getting a certain amount of people on a certain vehicle to go to a certain city is an orchestration. This is no different.
And it's also the people may not be aware that they've chosen that, but at some level, they've taken the exit in a sense.
Yes.
For whatever their specific purpose was or reasoning was, or it was their time.
Whether they know it or not, they have bought a ticket to that particular destination in a coordinated orchestration with the others. Those that haven't, you will find, as you often hear, will find themselves not necessarily getting on that plane for one reason or another synchronistically.
Yeah, this certainly brings back memories of the 9/11 situation.
Yes. And again, none of this excuses the perpetration of these particular kinds of events, but people will take advantage of whatever they need to take advantage of for a variety of reasons. And remember that sometimes those reasons are a higher level of themselves may be willing to go out that way to help the people that remain behind realize how to make sure things like that aren't necessarily opportunities for people in the future ever again. Because there are many ways that you can leave physical reality. It does not have to be through the idea of disaster or terrorism or anything like that. You will find a way when it's your time to find a way. But the idea can be that certainly those kinds of ways don't need to be the ways if you feel that that is too disruptive to the psyche that allows you to find a peaceful situation in your reality.
So, is there anything we can do to consciously choose the way we die instead of it just randomly happening when the time is right?
Well, yes, of course there is. There are several ways. But the idea, of course, is you don't necessarily have to pay attention to that, or you don't really have to necessarily know about that. If there is purpose, then yes, you can know. A well-known story on your planet comes from an individual known as Cochise, who knew the exact time of his death and predicted it. But again, it's not always important that you know that. If there is purpose to it, you will know. But again, the only way it's most likely you will know, if you need to know, is by, guess what? Following the formula.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Because anything, any kind of information that is truly relevant for you to know about on your journey, on your path, will come to you when you follow the formula, because the formula leaves nothing relevant out.
For example, like with Steve Irwin, he was definitely following his passion when he was swimming with that stingray.
Yes.
And yet that turned out to be the way that he was going to exit the planet.
And many people will choose to do that while they're doing something they love to do. In a sense, they're, quote unquote, dying happy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good way to approach it then. Do what excites you the most with integrity and following all the other elements of the formula. And if it is your time, that will, at least you will go out doing something you love doing.
Absolutely. If you want to put it in those pragmatic terms, that can work. Again, please do remember that when you do transition, you will understand exactly why you may have chosen that path, and it'll be perfectly fine.
And so energetically and mechanically speaking, what does it mean to be grounded or ungrounded?
Well, again, in true alignment with yourself is grounding. Misalignment, being out of alignment with yourself, is ungrounding, for lack of a better term, to put it in the most simplistic way.
So in a sense, when you follow a shamanic path, do you need to keep a foot in both worlds, so to speak?
As long as you find that it is not your time to transition, then automatically yes, because any shaman or anyone in balance acts like a link or a bridge between the physical and non-physical realities. So yes, you're automatically a bridge. Therefore, 1 foot in each realm is exactly what needs to happen.
And that's a skill unto itself.
Yes, it is. It's an art like any.
And can you elaborate on why Willa has 2 hearts?
The hybridization that occurred in certain genetic lineages led to a more efficient system of storing oxygen in the body for the purpose of accessing higher frequency domains and information. The oxygenation of the body is of paramount importance in speeding up the vibrational resonance of the physical form and having the idea of not exactly 2 hearts, but more chambers in the heart than you have that makes it function as if it's doubled, allows for a more efficient distribution of oxygen throughout the system, and also a greater amount of oxygen throughout the system. That then increases the probability of raising the frequency to the exact pitch required for easier connection to higher frequency realms of consciousness and other dimensions of experience.
So just like when Daryl does deep breathing in order to make the connection with you, the idea is that she has a much higher level of oxygen in her system than we do?
Yes, and this is also why we have mentioned from time to time that there is more oxygen on our planet in the atmosphere. Not a lot, but enough that it allows for the stabilization of that frequency to be common.
Okay. Um, is there a way that you can support elementals in this time of planetary transition, since they seem to have an important role in keeping the Earth in balance?
Well, in a sense, the idea of taking on the role from your side of keeping the earth in balance and doing the things that will help stabilize the environment in positive ways, increasing the idea of the natural world and making those connections from your side will be something that will also allow them more opportunity to do so from their side. So the whole idea of making the connection with them and taking actions in your reality that are more representative of enhancing the environment, stabilizing the environment in a more natural way, is what you can do from your side, while they do what they do from their side. It's not entirely up to them. This has to be a relationship. It has to be, in a sense, a 50-50 proposition.
It just occurred to me that the connection that elementals experience with Earth and nature is a profoundly deep love affair, in a sense.
Yes.
And that the more that you love Earth and you love all the elements of Earth, the more you are putting yourself in a state that's similar to what an elemental might experience.
Exactly. And therefore, like we have said with regard to extraterrestrial contact, you have to meet them halfway. You have to bring your vibrational frequency at least much closer to the level that they operate on in order for you to perceive them and in order for you to interact with them in the ways that will allow for the acceleration of the balance of the natural world of Earth.
Now, one person had an experience where they were with a grove of trees and suddenly shifted to a parallel reality where they realized that the forest is inhabited with tree people. In other words, the people of the forest are the trees, and that they are a community that has very strong bonds, and they're also very welcoming of the human consciousness.
That's why we say that the trees are, in a sense, the ambassadors between humans and the natural world, because they're connected to the idea of physical humans, they're connected to the idea of the elementals, and in a sense they act as the go-between. So they're always welcoming you into their reality to act as, well, for lack of a better term, brokers between the two different civilizations of human and elemental. That's the common bond. That's the common frequency. That's the common interface, are the trees.
So they experience each other as individual consciousnesses.
And collective, both.
And a collective at the same time. And they have young people and old people, and it's just it's a community of being.
It is. But again, when you say young people and old people, we understand what you mean in terms of time and the growth of trees. Yeah. But don't assign a human perspective to that, because they don't see it exactly in that way. Remember that they can perceive things in parallel realities in multiple dimensions a little bit differently than you can. And the idea of young and old has a particular perspective to them, but it's not exactly the human perspective.
And yet you need the older trees in a forest in order to share their energy with the younger trees.
Yes, yes. But again, all we're simply saying is the terminology that you're using, the definitions that you're using, have a particular human bent to them that is not experienced exactly in the same way by the tree consciousness.
And one last thing about trees, that they seem to have a very generous spirit in general.
Yes.
And their genetics are actually more complex than ours.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So they are actually highly evolved beings in many respects.
Yes. In fact, the very idea that they are apparently to you immobile requires the extra genetics and the extra abilities, because they can't move away from things like humans can. Therefore, they have to have more adaptability to a variety of situations, hence a more complex genetic structure.
And they communicate with each other chemically, so they let each other know that there's a danger or all kinds of communication
Yes.
that happens.
Yes, yes.
So it's very sophisticated, and yet it's hidden to human consciousness and lets you shift your vibration to be able to perceive what is actually happening.
Yes, but it's not hidden on purpose. It is simply the idea of the limitations that human consciousness has placed on itself, because long ago, when humans were much more connected in their understanding of their expression of nature, it wasn't hidden at all. It was understood very clearly.
So that would be Native Americans, Lemurians, those beings were much more
Early Atlanteans, yes. And not leaving out the idea of people in other parts of your planet, because many of them also had a more natural way of relating to nature.
Yes, I think almost every continent had its share of shamanic beings that were connecting with nature.
Yes. And it was much more common in those societies to understand those things as natural.
Now, one person has a boa constrictor and he wants to know how to communicate with that being and if it's possible to create a relationship and an emotional connection between a reptilian being, and I'm talking about actual reptile, and human.
Well, of course it is. So again, many of the things we've already said will apply as well. The idea of the deep emotional bond, the idea of using imagery instead of words. The reptile will also assist you in understanding exactly how to frame those images, how to frame those emotions in its context, in its quote-unquote language.
So you're basically saying, be the snake, and then you will know how to talk to the snake.
In essence, yes. All right, I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Let us begin this transmission by reminding you that this is called the domino effect. We are going to describe 2 rows of dominoes. Number 1, you are beginning to see an acceleration in many aspects of your society around the globe, shall we say, beginning to come apart at the seams. The idea is that, of course, many of the older structures, older systems in your society have to dissolve in order for new systems to take their place. So, be the domino that can gently tip over the next domino and the next and the next and start a chain reaction of positivity, of information, of connection, communication, and communion. Be the domino effect.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
You speak a lot about following your highest joy.
I do, don't I?
But what I understand about people is that we don't grow in comfort, but we actually grow in challenge.
Of course.
And
but that's why I tell you that you have to face your challenges in a way that will actually let you learn the lesson more easily.
Yeah. And so how can we grow while always just feeling joy and no resistance?
The idea, again, remember, is that the reflective mirror is part of the toolkit of acting on your passion. So anything while you're acting on your passion that is within you as a belief in your unconscious mind, subconscious mind, what have you, that you might be holding on to, that's out of alignment with who you truly are, your true vibration, when you're acting on your passion, will more easily be brought to the surface of your consciousness, brought to your attention, so that you can face that challenge, go through the process of dealing with it, figure out what lesson you need to learn from it, and then let go of the fear-based belief, which is the whole point of having challenges. To learn how to deal with the fear-based beliefs, the negative beliefs that exist on your planet in a way where you can transform them into something that works for you and use that energy in a positive way. So you can also be a living example to others of how to do that and be of service to them. Oh, how did you overcome that? How did you transform that? How did you go through an experience that allowed you to rise above this challenge in a positive way? Well, I did this and I did that and I approached it this way and so on and so forth. Now you're being of service to others by sharing your experience of how you transformed the challenge. And now they can learn to do so as well.
So embrace it.
Embrace it, of course.
Okay. Because what I understand is, following the path of least resistance is like a bypassing of the challenge.
That's not what we mean. What we're saying is, when you flow with your true self, your life becomes more flowing. It becomes a path of least resistance. But least resistance means you don't resist the challenges that come up. You meet them in a positive way with, again, calmness, confidence, curiosity, and creativity. So least resistance doesn't mean you're avoiding anything. Our use of that word never translates to avoidance, ever.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I have a two-parter. The first part is
two-parter.
Two-parter.
All right, part one.
And I know that part two is appropriate. I know it. Part one is a dream that I was awakened from this morning with a thunderous bang outside.
Thunderous bang.
Right.
All right.
And in the physical, there was a physical event going on that awoke me from this dream, and the dream was. In the dream, we had the Topanga fires recently, and
all right, we understand. Yes.
I had to load the car with everything that was important to me and wait to see if we had to evacuate.
Yes.
And we didn't, in the sense. So then I unloaded the car, and everything's fine. So in the dream, I dreamed that I'm living in a city.
By the way, everything's fine anyway.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thank you. In the dream, I'm living in a city, and I look out instead of in the woods where I really live.
Yes.
And I'm looking out the window, and the city is ablaze, and there's a bridge, and I'm seeing, oh my God, it's really time to get out now.
All right.
And there's no time to pack the car with everything I love.
Yes.
And so I'm very calm, and I just go, oh, okay, I'll just pack it with the doggy toys.
Oh, all right.
2 of each.
2 of each.
2 of each, right.
So now you have your own little ark of doggy toys.
I have my own little, and only one dog, but he gets 2 of each of his style of toy.
Yes.
So I think that's
But there are 2 dogs.
Yes, and I thought, where did that dog come from? Because I only have one dog.
Yes.
Where did that dog come from, Bashar?
Where did that dog come from?
Where did that dog come from? I don't know. Are you going to tell me?
Serious?
Oh no! Of course. People think I'm a dog sometimes because I love them so much. I think like them. I totally get them.
And it's representative of your serious connection.
Of course. Thank you. Oh my goodness. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, and the fire being real comfortable.
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll go to part 2.
Oh, part 2. All right.
Okay, I might get real emotional on this, so just
that's all right.
Prepared.
Have you been fake emotional up to now?
No.
Now you're going to get real emotional?
Oh. No, I mean...
Yes, I understand. I'm teasing you.
Volume-wise. Okay. No. Thank you.
Throwing you doggy toys.
Thank you. Okay. Back when the big fire happened.
Yes, the
from
big fire.
Malibu and was rushing towards Topanga.
Yes.
We had to evacuate with all of our animals and be outside of the canyon for 3 days watching TV, not knowing if our house was okay. So we're sitting, and we're a nervous wreck. I'm absolutely petrified. My stomach is turning inside out. I've never been so scared in my life.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Deep. It went deep. Yeah.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden we're watching TV, and I see the picture on the screen is the view outside my window.
Yes. And you go, oh, look, there's my house.
Yeah. It's a hillside that I meditate on, the rocks on that hillside.
Yes.
The blaze was on the hillside exactly next to it, about, I was guessing, 10 to 15 fire seconds as the fire was moving away.
Yes. And?
Time of moment of reckoning, right?
Yes.
Shock.
Yes.
I hear a voice inside my head say no to the fire. I'm thinking, right?
Yes.
And it's my unseen friends. And I'm going, that's totally stupid. And then the next thing
you
that
have
I
stupid
thought.
unseen friends?
No. It was the thought that I had. It was the thought that
yes,
I thought it was a stupid thought.
Doggy toys.
Thank you. Okay. So then I'm thinking, well, what other choice do I have? You know, we've already gone through 2 seconds with that thought.
Yes.
And so I thought, okay. And so I try to say no, and nothing comes out. There's nothing. My vocal cords won't work.
Oh, all right.
So then I try again, and nothing comes out. And I try again, and there's like this gross little squeak kind of comes out. And I'm trying, and I'm really giving it everything I've got to say no to the fire. And finally a little no comes out, and then a bigger no comes out, and then, no, you son of a bitch, no! Starts screaming coming out. The girl next to me is screaming the same thing. She's also a channel. And we're screaming. And all of a sudden, the energy, it was like we were in the middle of a hurricane, and it was blasting. And all of a sudden, everything went totally calm.
Yes.
And it
the eye of the storm.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we felt.
Yes.
We looked at each other like, what the hell just happened?
What the heaven just happened.
And the picture had changed from the screen, so we couldn't tell in physical reality what happened, right?
Yes.
But we chose to feel that meant everything was okay. And when we got home 3 days later, they had stopped the fire exactly there.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So now this has been a really big event in my life. And when I try to share it with people, they get a little overwhelmed.
I see.
But I think this is the right place to talk about this because...
Well, obviously, because you already are.
Right. Right. Because obviously there was some big time synchronicity going on there.
Oh, yes. And it sounds
involved...
like your invisible friends threw you a bone.
Well, it does, doesn't it?
Yes.
And it was a life-changing, reality-shattering...
Life-changing, yes. Which means you are not the same person.
I have never been the same person
in the same reality at all. So what actually happened?
Okay, now here's what I came up with.
Yes.
And with some help from Tora, came up with, but she didn't give me the whole thing. He didn't give me the whole thing.
Understood.
Okay. Because there's this outside reality occurring.
There is?
Well, I'm not going to be able to get through this without you bumping me, are you? Okay. All right.
Do you want me to relax the leash a little bit?
A tad, yes. Please.
All right. Go ahead, run around. Chase your tail for a while.
Oh, no, I can't believe you're doing this to me. Okay. Where was I? Okay, why?
Fetch.
Why? I've always cared more about dogs than people. I mean, I pull my car over on the side of the street to see the dogs. Yes. What?
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yes.
I don't know. There's the big puppy dog eyes. They just get me. They just get me. What's the difference?
All right, we'll go on with your story.
Okay. That's another time. Okay, so I'm when I talked to Tora about it about a week later after the fires, I said, this is what happened. What do you think? He said, well, you didn't stop the fire with your anger, Victoria.
Yes.
You stopped the fire with your love. And I went, yeah, I can see that the love was under the anger. Okay. And then I was thinking later.
Yes.
And I thought, you know, it also felt that like there was kind of a divine intervention in some way. Well, that's what I wanted to clarify, because that I needed that
what
to
happened?
put there.
Based on what we have talked about the nature of the structure of existence, do you understand what obviously happened? I already just gave you a clue. You're not the same person, not in the same reality.
I changed that reality because I chose.
No,
What?
You didn't change the reality. You shifted to another one, representative of your preferential state of being. You tunneled through with your energy. That eye of the storm feeling was literally you tunneling through, shifting your frequency from one reality to another that simultaneously coexist, parallel reality. One reality in which the fire swept through that area, taking everything with it. Another in which the fire stops at that point. You shifted to the reality in which the fire stops.
So I didn't stop it? I just shifted
You can't
realities?
Stop it. It's already existing in every possible configuration that it can.
Oh.
It's not about changing the outer reality, because there isn't one. It's about changing the inner reality and experiencing the result reflected back to you of the new reality you have taken yourself to.
So all that emotion that was going on in me, that was the turmoil and the terrified of the 3 days.
Yes.
And the trying to then access my vocal cords.
Yes.
And having such difficulty doing
Yes.
that. Was a physical part of shifting that.
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Remember, we have talked about the idea that oftentimes shifting from one dimension to another will actually experience a little bit of what you might call temporary paralysis, because you're attempting to still work in one dimension when you're no longer there. So as soon as you hit the eye of the storm, you were free. In that sense, you had made the shift. You were now working in a new dimension, a new parallel reality, where you had finally let go of all the things that belonged in the old reality that no longer work. And then you could speak.
And then the experience of the fires got less each time.
Yes.
Even in the dream. In the dream state, it got less.
Yes.
Even
As
though it
you
was
shift
right
your
outside the
realities
window.
in that direction, that can be one result. Yes.
But then it has more to it than that, because
Well, of
it's
course.
not just fires. It's
No.
It's
everything.
It's
But that's
everything.
your focus. That's what you're using as your transformational crucible symbol.
which is what fire is.
Yes.
Right.
Does this help?
Yeah.
Are you proud that you have arrived at this realization?
Proud? Oh, that's an interesting word.
Yes. It's all right. I'm not going to put a negative spin on it.
Okay. Am I proud?
Do you feel good and appropriate that you have arrived
Oh,
at
I
this
feel
realization?
ecstatic.
Thank you.
But proud threw me a little bit.
All right. Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because I'm kind of been taught that proud is not really a good emotion to have.
I see. You think it comes with arrogance and negative ego.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to.
Right. Oh.
Pride in the positive sense can also simply be the recognition of your own beauty. You understand? The recognition of your belonging to all that is.
Oh, thank you.
That you
because-
acknowledge and accept and own yourself completely. It can be that too.
Without that negative tinge
Without
to
the
it.
negative idea.
Yeah. Thank you, because I haven't been willing to let myself do that
Well,
because
all right.
of that
Are
definition.
you willing to now?
Oh, yeah.
Then.
Oh, yeah. I'll work on
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Then, has this helped?
Yes. So much. Thank you.
Then you may please take a bow wow.
In your imagination.
Well, You can say it however you wish. Bow. Wow. What is your present time frame?
12 o'clock.
We have whatever time we say we have.
Oh, yes.
You may continue briefly.
Thank you, Bashar. Thank you for the motion with the dot.
Yes.
And the meditation this morning. It really shifted me, or allowed me to shift.
Thank you.
Rather dramatically from where I've been stuck for the last few years, or
All right.
allowed myself to be.
Thank you.
And really remember where I was and how I could move forward.
All right.
And I have a question.
Yes.
I hope that you can give me some insight as to the numbers. Last night, during the lottery, I was drawn number 3 of 10.
Yes.
And my parking ticket, the numerical value on the number on the ticket was 201020.
All right.
And so there's 2 20s that keep representing themselves. And I have these numbers represented all the time.
Synchronistically.
Synchronistically. Is this a positive synchronicity? Is
Do you
this
want it to
something-
be?
I do.
Well, then it is.
Okay. My question is, this session has really helped me to shift. Do you feel that it could be a copy of it could be received positively by the individual known to you as Dawn?
A copy of it could be received positively?
Yeah.
There
But
is
it could
always
have-
a positive way to do anything.
Okay.
The individuals must simply assess for themselves what methodology represents the idea of the expression of positive reality for them.
Right, but I would be sending it unconditionally, but do you perceive that it would be received
We cannot make that determination. It
by
is
the
up to Dawn.
individual? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank
I really just, I mean, it's been absolutely amazing this morning. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are you still exploring democracy?
Absolutely.
Did you find the
Absolutely.
difference between democracy and republic?
No, not as of yet.
Shall I help?
Please.
A democracy is that which allows for an unlimited majority to rule, but absolutely provides no basis for the protection of individual or minority rights. A republic allows there to be a democratic process of voting, but through a constitution imposes controls on the majority to allow for individual and minority rights. Now, which do you prefer?
Honestly, I think I prefer true democracy.
I have just told you the difference.
Right.
So you are saying that you are in favor of an unlimited majority with absolutely no regard for individual or minority rights.
Yes.
Why?
Because the will of the people should be the will of the planet.
But you see, the idea is the will of the people are expressed in a constitution, not in a majority system.
Well, if the Constitution were upheld, then that might make sense.
That's
but
the key.
since the Constitution
That's
isn't upheld
the
under the
key.
Republic, then the Republic
No.
isn't working.
The republic doesn't work when it is replaced by a pure majority democracy. And that's what has happened.
No, because if our system were working as a democracy, the situations that we're in right now, we wouldn't be in because it's not the will of the majority.
The situation, however, that you are missing is that the structure, the form of government called a democracy is what allows for the continuation of what you don't want. The form of government called the republic is the only way to bring to light how the republic has been misrepresented. You
Okay.
cannot, as your Einstein said, solve a problem from the same level in which the problem was created.
That makes a lot of sense on a lot of levels to me right now. It really does. It's really
Do a
very
little bit
clear.
more of your own research, and you will see that just because there may be corruption in a republic that allows there to be a misrepresentation doesn't mean that you abandon the idea itself. It simply means that you need to educate people to go back to it, which a democracy will not allow you to do. So do some more research. You will see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello and good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. I just want to tell my experience and see what you...
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
In 2004,
Yes,
I think I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana around then.
you think?
No, I wasn't.
All right. You are en route to?
No, I wasn't en route. I was at work, actually.
You are at work.
Yeah.
All right.
And I had an experience where out of the nothingness, this pure intelligence came out.
Yes.
I can't describe it.
Yes.
All I can say was pure absolute consciousness.
And what was the effect of this experience?
Well, I noticed that myself inside of it, my I am presence, it was like me looking back at myself,
Yes.
but it was much greater than me.
Yes.
And,
Because you were in touch with more of the all that is.
and I just want to, was there a reason why I experienced that, or
No,
was
none
that actually
whatsoever. Are you exploring the idea of the expansion of consciousness?
Oh, yes, I am.
Well, wouldn't that be reason enough to have that kind of an experience as part of that exploration?
Oh, yes, it would. Yeah.
Well, does it have to be more complicated than that?
No.
Is that sufficient?
Yes, yes,
Are you sure?
yes.
All right. Does it feel good?
It feels really good. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to expand some more?
Oh, yes, I would.
Well, then you can expect to have more experiences, can't you?
Yes, of
All
course.
right. Does that feel good too?
Yes, it does.
All right. Does this help?
Yes, it does a lot.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yes, one more thing
Yes.
about the photon belt.
Yes.
Do you know when exactly our solar system is gonna?
It's not really the kind of phenomenon that many of your people think it is. It's simply the leading edge of the collective consciousness wave that represents the crossing of a threshold expressed in electromagnetic terms in your physical reality. Do you understand? You're crossing through it now. 2012 represents the threshold point of critical mass.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. So where are we? Just that. Okay, I understand.
It's the leading edge of the collective consciousness that desires a shift. And thus then critical mass will be crossed in 2012, where the electromagnetic energy will express itself in a more accelerated way on your planet in a variety of phenomenologies, some of which can be the idea of more positive accelerated ideas being able to come to the forefront of manifestation if there is harmonious behavior behind them. Does that help?
Yes, it does a lot.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We will now, at this time, suggest that you take your refreshment break. At the same time, you will also be playing a little game. So while you take your refreshment break, write down at least 5 things you absolutely know for a fact, without question. Absolutely without question. 5 things you know for a fact. You can start with I am. I'll let you cheat a little bit. But at least 5 things. 10 if you wish. But 5 things you absolutely don't question that you know. That come from a state of knowingness. And it can be anything. It can be, I absolutely know my dog loves me. as long as it's something you absolutely know without question. At least 5. That is your assignment during your refreshment break. We will discuss some of those when we resume contact. Enjoy. We will resume contact in 1.5 of your hours. Good day.
Thank you.
How's it going?